What's up, YouTube? It's your boy P Kid. This is the Chicago Bulls Breeze. We're getting in tune with something right now that I felt like was it's a necessity, really, because I am loving the direction the team is going in, and mainly it's kind of happening with what we've always wanted to see. We've always wanted to see our young fellas step up, and that's exactly what's happening. We're seeing Coby White evolve. We're seeing Ayo Dosunmu, who's actually the topic of this particular video, because I've been playing pretty good. Now, the last game, of course, 29 points, 5 of 7 from three, 7 assists, 1 steal, 1 block, threw in a couple rebounds as well. Obviously, that is an exciting thing to see. But if you look at ultimately how he's played in the last, let's just say 10 plus games, he's actually put up some really good numbers. He's actually increased his point per game from his average, excuse me, this season to about 10 points a game at 50% shooting, 40% from three. He's having a good season. And I really want to highlight one thing. It's the 40% from three that's really, really exciting for me, mainly because Ayo was not known to be a good three-point shooter. In fact, we could see in many games that was just one of the things he struggled with. The mechanics looked a little off. It looked like something he was still trying to get comfortable with. But as he took more of those shots, he started to make more of those shots. And that's really what you have to do. That's really what you want to see when it comes to improving your game, things of that nature. But I like the fact that we're seeing these increases from Ayo Dosunmu. I almost said Kobe. We're seeing these increases from Ayo Dosunmu technically as he plays less per game. Now, as of late and as of the last, let's say 10 plus so games, he's been averaging over 30 minutes on average. However, for the season, he's been averaging his career low of 25.3. Now, I know that's only a minute less, but you got to think about it's also 2 minutes less from when his rookie season, where he only averaged 27 points a game, but he only averaged 27 minutes a game, excuse me, but 8 points per game. And it's really big because I've always considered him a efficient scorer. What I mean by that is he's always been 50%. In fact, his lowest percentage so far is 49. It's pretty freaking good. Now, we know exactly where he gets a lot of that money from. And initially, it was a lot of attacking the basket and things of that nature. And that's good. I mean, you take what the defense gives you, you stick to your game, you build that confidence within that. But as he's starting to take more threes, to know that now that shooting percentage, him shooting more threes at a 41% clip, and him still being a 50% from the field overall player, we're looking at another young player develop. Now, I was always of the ilk that if we had to choose between the two, I would have chosen Ayo before during the offseason. That's obviously before Coby White took this ascendance. Now I don't think there's an opportunity to compare. I don't even think that it's right to compare because you can see that they do have a very similar style, but a style that can actually complement one another. And this could be a situation in where you can still have Ayo at his best and have Coby at his best, and they coexist and grow together. We've seen this happen. If you look at OKC has a bunch of young players and young talent that you thought maybe they wouldn't be able to fit, but sure enough, look at it. Not only is Chet being able to do what he does, coming back, not only is SGA doing what he does, they have other players who their game is not dramatically impacted while other people are still able to be effective. And I think the genius in AK actually staying put is that we actually get to see if this matures and if this situation with the Chicago Bulls can actually develop into what will be somewhat of a premier young core and could be a premier team within the Eastern Conference. Now, I know that's saying a lot. I also understand that, but hey, let's not get too crazy, right? Like it's a long way to go, but we're trending in the right direction. And realistically, there's no rhyme or reason for us not to be successful on that back end. And Io is absolutely proven that. And I think this is another thing too, as we have to consider this. And I'm going to use Io as an earmark for this one, not just Kobe, because Kobe has been on a tear. He's obviously been a mainstay there. But out of the people we expected to step up, Io was one of those people that we expected to step up. He's obviously stepping up. Patrick Williams is one of those people that we expected to step up. Maybe not so much. You can argue about whether that opportunity is there. He's been up and down, also has some injuries as well. I like the fact that they're accepting the challenge. Zach Levine not being in the lineup allows these young guys to actually have more opportunity to showcase what they can do because there's no choice. You have to get on the floor. And so I've been very critical of our young players when they didn't play well. I've been very critical of Billy Donovan when he didn't make the right decisions. I now have to sit here and say, you're doing a good job. I have to give them their praise. I have to give them their kudos for when there is actually coming together. And so on multiple courts, not only is this a good job by Billy Donovan to roll with these guys, to still give them the opportunity to allow them to be effective, because I mean he didn't have to. Like we've seen Billy put some weird lineups out there. Yeah. And you can still argue that that's still an issue. You can very well still argue that. But where injury and stuff like that has forced us to make some different things. And these people are responding. These players are responding. And you can sit there and blame AK for not making any moves. But him sticking with his guns again, as I've stated earlier, has allowed us to take one considerable step back in terms of what we expect, but it's also allowed us to lean in and see what's actually here. And I'm actually liking what I see. I'm actually liking the trajectory the Bulls are on. We are still a piece away. If that piece is Zach Levine, great. Then he's still here. We haven't traded him. Hopefully, this is a mendable thing. If it's not Zach, we're still a piece away, and hopefully we can use that contract as an asset for another team to get what we need. I'm just not as doom and gloom on the Chicago Bulls as I once was, simply because I now can see the vision and it's lining up. It's one thing when your GM puts himself out there and states what he's doing, and the entire fan base hates it, as we did. Everyone was calling, like, we had people giving him very, very hard hitting questions. The media did not let up on him. They did a wonderful job. But for him to stick to his guns and the team actually respond to it. I know it's only been a couple of games since the trade deadline, but the team has actually shown up. And I think overall, the fan base is forced to look at the fact that we would not have been better just trading to be trading. To have all those things aligned, your coach actually start to be better, your young players actually step up, your GM put himself out there, let them know what the plan was and why they didn't make some moves, but for it to all make sense and fall in line, it's a very rare thing. Oftentimes you would see a GM put himself out there, the team is performing badly, they're calling for his job. We've seen that story play out thousands of one times. We've also seen coaches become a carousel 1,001 times. Even, I mean, listen, let's be real. We just saw a coach get fired and his team was 33 and like 17. I mean, he was well above 500, but wasn't the right coach for them, wasn't the right system. We all have felt that way about Billy Donovan, but as of late, it's shaping up. So I want to give credit to all of that. This started off as an Ayo video, and it still is, because Ayo is pivotal to us having that success. If Ayo isn't stepping up in times, we don't have the W we've had recently. If Ayo doesn't step up in this last stretch, this last month or so, those points matter. That contribution matters. Where Coby is not providing it, where DeMar is not providing it, where Vooch is not providing it, we're getting it from some of our other players. That's pivotal in us making a run to being a playoff team. It doesn't happen without Ayo or anyone else stepping up. So kudos to all of them getting on the same accord. But I want to hear your thoughts. Are you happy about this sentence, not just of Coby, but of Ayo? Are you happy with how Billy Donovan has been managing it so far in this new look Chicago Bulls as we move forward into the second half of the season? And are you happy with AK's ultimately? I don't know if I said this already. Forgive me if I did. But are you happy with the overall state and where we're headed, knowing that, hey, it wasn't a strong market out there, but we can actually be competitive? I want to hear your thoughts. Whether it's love, whether it's hate, put it in the chat. I'll be in there with you. Till next time. Peace.